Johannesburg Metro Police Department have rescued 27 illegal immigrants. According to the police, 30 illegal male immigrants were trafficked into the country and were being kept at a secret house in Edenvale. Upon arrival at the house, the police said they started interviewing them. However, they started running out of the room in which they were kept, but officers managed to contain 27 victims who were later handed over to immigration officials. They are set to be deported back to Ethiopia soon. Now, to discuss this, we have technical coordinator for the ENACT project at the Institute of Security Studies, Martin Eu, joining me on the news this morning. Thank you so much for joining me, Martins.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you and good morning to your viewers. And sorry, we have a little bit of a slow internet here, so it will be risky to turn on my video, but we can continue.
Oh, that's fine. It's a pleasure having you on board. Now, Martin, this is not the first incident of foreign nationals being rescued by police in South Africa, but looking at the number and also considering that they are undocumented. Now, would you say that this is a case of kidnap or individuals who actually came into the country out of their own will?
Well, human trafficking, it's a very funny phenomenon. It's a highly risky business, extremely dangerous, and we are seeing that individuals travel to different countries not at their own will, and that's human trafficking. When they travel at their own will, that's human smuggling, where they actually pay money for people to smuggle them into other countries. This particular case, given the conditions in which these individuals were kept, proved that this is a situation of human trafficking, meaning that these individuals were certainly corrupt and probably promised jobs in order to bring them here to South Africa. So it was human trafficking, and that's why they were all packed in one room, waiting for other assignment or waiting for other duties that they will do. This is a particular period. I know you mentioned that this is not the first time. Indeed, it is not, and I don't think we've seen the end of it yet. But Ethiopia is facing some internal conflict which is forcing many of them to flee. We've seen that before, the high turn of Ethiopians going to the Middle East was very, very high. But because of the situation in the Middle East today, I think has forced them to look southward. And South Africa is often the target. So many of these people who are fleeing conflict in East Africa, Ethiopia being #1 today, are looking southward. We call it the southern route, meaning South Africa is their prime destination. And it's unfortunate to see this. There are so many of them, not just Ethiopians. We have so many other countries that, find themselves here through human trafficking rings.
All right, Martin, you did say this is not the first time, and there have been, instances of these kinds of occurrences. Now, but when you talk about kidnappings or trafficking of foreign nationals, yes, especially in Johannesburg, is it a common thing, or is this particular incident, one of its kind in Johannesburg?
It is very common. It is very common. The procedures for human trafficking is what? Is that when you take people from their country, they are entirely under your control. And that's why we call it today the new slavery, because you are in conditions of slavery. You saw the way these individuals were packed into that small room. That's how they are. Their entire life is controlled by the trafficker, their owner, so to say. And many of these individuals will have to do various jobs in order to bring in money to their boss, who might sometime at his own will offer them a small token of what they have brought in. So this is really slavery. it functions, and you saw the conditions in which they were kept. It functions like kidnapping. Because
Martin,
you kidnap
but
an
how
individual,
does
that
this,
individual is entirely under your control.
Martin, how does this incident reflect on the overall security situation in Johannesburg and also in South Africa in general?
Especially given some of the incident that we saw with the fire and all the illegal immigrants and so on. So this situation only reinforces. Again, we can't pick on Ethiopia today, but I don't think that this is the only country that is sending or where foreign nationals originate to come to South Africa. So you have quite a number of countries. We've also seen Pakistanis here in huge numbers. When we said there have been previous cases, we've seen cases where Pakistanis were loaded into trucks. We've seen cases where other foreigners were loaded into trucks and they were intercepted at various borders in South Africa. So these incidents are quite common. They come here to do various jobs, especially when it comes to the girls. I know in this particular case, they were all men. When it comes to girls, you find them in the street doing prostitution. And when it comes to boys, you find them in the street doing all sorts of odd jobs because the owners need them and numbers count. Because if each person can bring in even 100 rand, if you have 40 of them, that's a lot of money.
All right, Martin, sadly we'll have to wrap up here, but we do hope that security agencies, address this issue of kidnapping or human trafficking, in Johannesburg and South Africa. But thank you so much for joining us on the news this morning.